Good afternoon, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana. I'm usually here in the mornings, but we had a big snowstorm yesterday and it set my day off kind of off kilter. That's how the day started yesterday. And I wasn't able to design my project for today, but I finally got it done. And the project actually was inspired by the nor'easter that came through. And nor'easter, for those of you who are not in New England and have no idea what I'm talking about, it's a snowstorm and it dumps about a foot or more on our on our area, and so we were snow shoveling yesterday, and it was kind of an exhausting day actually. And this morning I just had a sluggish start with a headache, and then I cut my finger during lunch, and I'm just like, ah. But I wanted to show you my card, and I think you'll like it. It's a great card for right now because we're coming into the snowy season up here in the north. And so let me show you. Here is the front of the card, and the front might not look too, spectacular, but what I love about this card is that it opens into this card, which is kind of the best way I could describe it is it's a triangle corner fold card. And I found this idea. Let me bop over here. I want to tell you exactly where I found this idea. I put it, there's a link to my blog, and I believe she's a Dutch demonstrator by the name of Joanne. And I put a link, if you bop over to my blog, you'll be able to link to her original card. I wanted to give her a shout out because I loved her design. She created a card, a floral card with a daisy in it. But mine has a snowflake and I love it. It's just so cool. And then you lift up this part of the card, and then I'll have to show you when I'm back with my other camera, and it creates this very, very cool card. So I'm going to show you how to make that today. What I would probably say that this is a little bit more of an advanced card, not so much for a beginner, but I can walk you through it and make sure that you know all the steps, but you'll probably need to be a little bit more careful with this card because there is like appropriate placement for each of the elements. So if you get those wrong, then your card won't work out. So just a little forewarning about this card. I will have a project sheet for you. I did not create it beforehand because my brain was just not there today, but I've started it. And if you subscribe to my email list, you'll get that project sheet in your inbox tomorrow. And so if you want to subscribe, please go down below in the description of this video and do that so that you can get my project sheet. Also, if you love my YouTube videos, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Look for my little picture in the corner of this video and click on it, and that will help you subscribe to my blog. And if you click on the bell, you can change your notification settings, whether you want to be notified for all, for some, or for no notifications. So make sure you adjust that as well. All right, well, I have several of you on right now, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my other camera and we'll get started on this card. All right, couple little notes. We're using the Snowflake Wishes bundle. It's an amazing bundle. I love all the elements on it. I'm also going to be using the Stitch Shapes framelits. The paper I'm using is called Snowflake Splendor. This paper is retiring very soon and it's on sale. I just checked it in the store this morning. So this paper, if you want some of it to match your bundle, make sure that you get it now because it's not going to be available next year. All right, I think that's all the notes I need to make on products right now. So let's take out our Simply Scored scoring board. It's the first thing. And I'm going to use a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is the regular Whisper White. It is the thin one. The reason I'm using the thin one is when I create the folds right here, it slides together better. If you want to use a colored card base, you can definitely go ahead and do that. It works. Jolanne used a colored card base, but I found for this, and since I'm using snowflakes anyway, it worked really well to use the thin one, and it just makes the card come together a little bit more easily. It's a little less bulky when mailing because there's a few layers that are going on right there. Okay, so I'm using regular Whisper White, and I need my scoring tool. All right, and the measurement for the card base is 8.5 by 8.5. Okay, and then I'm going to score this piece at the 4 1/4 inch mark, so that's down the middle. Turn a quarter turn and score at 4 1/4 again. All right, so you're scoring a big X into the middle of this. Then I'm going to do one scoring on the diagonal. Let me move my scoring board up just a little bit. So I'm going to line up one of the points up at the 6 inch. I don't know if you can see that right here at the 6 inch. Ironically, it also, with an 8.5 by 8.5 square, it also matches up at the 6 inch right here. And then it will also match up with a score line here at the bottom. And what you're going to do, I'm going to score from the middle down to the bottom. Okay, so one of our, I don't know if you can see that. I'll put diagrams in the project sheet, but one of the corners here, this corner here, or this square has a diagonal running from the middle to the end. Okay. I'm following along on my little notes, so I'm making sure that I'll do the same for the project sheet. We're going to bring in, oh, we have to do one thing. If you would like, let me move this out of the way for a second. If you would like paper on the front of your card like I did, like right here, this is the time when you need to do that. So I'm going to do that right now. This is a 4 inch by 4 inch piece of designer series paper. That's Snowflake Splendor paper. And I'm just going to show you the card while it's flat so that you can make sure that you get this in the right spot. So I've got my diagonal and I'm going to put it like, let's see, I'm trying to think what's the best way to do this. Okay, this is going to be the front right here. So let me line up everything the way it's going to be. Okay, so this is the front of my card right here. So this piece has to be glued up here. So the diagonal is here coming down from the center. And so then this piece needs to be glued right here. So actually it has to be glued opposite of the diagonal. Ask me how I know that you need to get this right, this piece, because I made a mistake earlier and it ended up being in the wrong spot. So just make sure that you're putting things in the right area. So I'm going to glue this up top here. And I'll put diagrams on that project sheet so that you can make sure that you're getting everything in the right spot. Unlike me, who just was like rushing and didn't do it correctly. Okay, because we're going to have to cut a window into here. So now I'm going to come from the other side. I'm going to flip both of these over. Okay, this is my square with the designer series paper on, and now my angles are right here. So this one over here, opposite here, is what we're going to cut into. I'm going to tell you in a moment that there's one really important thing that you need for this card if you're going to make it with another shape. your card needs to be symmetrical, because when you open up your card, if it's not symmetrical, your design will be facing in the wrong direction. So we're going to fold this piece along the score line. So this one right here is opposite on the diagonal. And we're going to fold this like right here, and we're going to cut into right here. We're going to cut into the back of here. So this one's going to be down. The paper is going to be down in the square right here. And I'm going to create a frame. So I'm going to use the second largest circle in the stitched shapes dies. And I'm going to put this piece or this circle right in the center of that square. So you're going to look at it, eyeball it, and when you like its placement, I think that looks pretty good, I'm going to fold this cardstock over. Okay? So the die is actually sandwiched inside of here. And then, shoot, I just scooted this. I hope it stayed in the right space. Okay, let's see. I think it's still in the right spot. Okay, I'm going to close it more carefully. I don't want to shift around my circle while it's hidden from me. And then I'm going to run this through. All right, so one thing to take note, I'm going to open this up, and here is the circle. And so here is what it looks like when you open it up. When you run this through, there's going to be a little bit of an impression of the back of the circle left. I don't know if you can see that at all. That will be the back of the card. So if you don't want to see that, you can always glue another Whisper White piece over top of that, or glue an additional circle over here and maybe put like your name or something stamped on there, or like another little greeting or a snowflake on the back of the card if you want to cover that up. I didn't do it on mine, but if it bothers you, you can do that. All right, so we can set this aside for a moment. We need to do a couple of die cuttings, little enhancements for the card. So let's do that right now. I'm going to create a frame. So I'm going to use that circle that I just used and the one that's one larger. And I'm just going to center them into each other. If you have trouble doing that, you can always use washi tape to hold them in place. I'm going to just hope that everything stays straight, and then I'm just going to run this through, and this will create my little frame for the snowflakes. Here's an additional piece that you don't need, and here is the frame. And then we need to do one more thing. We'll cut them both at the same time, but we need two snowflakes, and I'm going to use this snowflake right here. I'm going to cut that out of Misty Moonlight, and then I'm going to use this snowflake right here, and I'm going to cut that out of Silver Foil Sheet. Just make sure they're all both on. Whoa! Butterfingers. I just threw the plate. Okay, putting this down, running this through. Doesn't help that I have a band-aid on one finger, and that makes it harder to, like, I don't know, it makes me like not trust that hand so much. Okay, so peeling out one snowflake, and then peeling out this snowflake here. A cute little silver one. All right. Okay, I think we're done with the die cutting. I'm going to add some light. The sun's getting close to setting here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I've got my pieces, and now we're going to do, consult my notes again. We've cut the hole, cut the snowflakes and cut the frame, and now we're going to create a tab. So your card, the front of your card should be face down, and I'm going to rotate it so that my diagonal is right here. And let me just confirm what I need to do here. Okay, so my front is here, and I want to create my tab. Okay, that's not right. Okay, you know what? Scratch that. Card is forward. And I had that written in my notes too. Card faces front. Okay, so you want to see your paper, the front of your card. Your diagonal is right here. Okay, and I'm going to take a ruler, and I'm going to draw myself a line about 1/2 inch down from this line. I'm going to create a tab. Okay, so just draw yourself a line. I'm drawing it to match right there. Let me do one more thing. Let me enhance the score line with a pencil so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. So you can see I drew a pencil line just below my diagonal line, and that's going to become a tab. Okay. So I'll take my scissors and I'm going to cut along the pencil line, not the score line. I'm going to cut along the pencil line that I created. And I'm just going to cut until I meet that score line. Okay. And then you can do one of two things. Cut from the edge to the center of the card, or if you want a really straight cut, let me put my scoring board away before it falls. If you want a really straight cut, line up your score line on your scoring, what is it called? Your cutting, your Stampin' trimmer. I tell you, I am not an afternoon person. I'm a morning person, and doing a tutorial in the afternoon is much, much harder for me. So I'm going to put this right in the center and cut down. Oops. So you can see what I'm like on a not so good day. All right, triangle goes away. All right, so we are working on, we've got our tab, and now we're going to stamp a snowflake. Okay, so this is the back of the card. This piece right here is where your snowflake is going to attach to. So fold this up, and you can take your bone folder and fold this up like this. Okay, so this piece right here underneath your frame, it's a square piece, it gets folded up, and then flip it to the front so you can see where your snowflake is going to land. And I'm going to do a little stamping. I'm going to take my Seaside Spray ink pad, and I'm going to take this snowflake right here. This one is actually the one that also matches the die and shape. See, it matches this one, but we're going to stamp this one, and I'm going to stamp it. So I've got the front right here, the diagonals right here, and I'm going to stamp this centered right through the window. That way I'll make sure that I've got it right where it needs to be. Perfect. I can put this away for a moment. If you didn't add a piece of paper to the front of your card, you can also stamp the front of your card. That's another option. So then we're going to glue some of these other snowflakes that I have. Just put a little bit of Tombow in the center. And I went really heavy-handed. So I'm going to just scrape away a bit of the Tombow away, some of the excess with a scrap piece of cardstock so it doesn't ooze out. And I'm going to offset this so that you see the other snowflake underneath. Okay. All right. And then I'll take my little silver snowflake that I cut earlier and just put a little bit of Tombow. And then I'm going to layer it right over top of that Misty Moonlight snowflake. Okay. So that will help so that it's visible. It's going to be right over top. So you see that? And it's already catching the light. So pretty. And then I'm going to take some of these blue adhesive back gems, or actually just one of them. I'm going to lift off one of the larger ones and put it right in the center. The smaller one would look good too. The larger one, just since there's not a lot of other stuff going on the front of the card, I wanted to anchor it with, look at, it's pretty, it catches the light. All right. Okay, so now that piece of the card is done, and now we need to take care of the inside. So I'm going to open this up. The front of the card is down, so this is what it looks like. And now we're going to add some other pieces to the front. I'm going to add a piece of Seaside Spray cardstock. This one measures 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. I'll just put some Tombow on the back. And it gets added to the square over here. There's going to be a little bit of white all the way around, but not too much, just a little bit. And then let's stamp on this one. I'm going to take Misty Moonlight ink, and I'm going to take this wonderful greeting, Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. Ink that up and stamp that right in the center. Okay, and then we'll take Seaside Spray, and I'll take a little scrap piece of paper because I'm going to stamp off. Ink this up, stamp it off, and I'm going to add the snowflakes up top here. I want the snowflakes to be there, but I want everyone to still be able to read the words. So I'm going to stamp off again. This is another little snowflake stamp. They're two little snowflake stamps from that same stamp set. All right. So then we can take this piece and add it to here. And I'm just going to center it on here. All right. Okay, so now we have this last piece right here. And if anything went crazy right here, if you have any weird edges, you can trim them right now. Sometimes when you score, it makes it hard for the trimmer to come right down on top of it. So we're going to fold this piece up and use the bone folder to smooth it. And then we're going to fold this tab here back on the diagonal. Okay, I'm going to just grab it and burnish it with my bone folder real quick over here. You want to make sure everything looks nice and crisp down here. If it doesn't, trim off any overhang Look over here. Make sure there's nothing bumpy or lumpy right there on the fold, okay? So this is the crucial part of the fold that you need to fold together. This tab is folded back onto itself. So it was like this, and now it's like this, okay? I'm going to put glue on here, then I'm going to fold this up, and then I'm going to fold this in over top, and it's going to glue itself in the perfect position, okay? But I want to show you how to do that before I actually put the glue on. Okay, so this is folded over with glue on it. This will be folded up, and then this will be folded over, okay? So now let's do it with the real thing, with the Tombow. I'm going to put a bead in the center. I want enough glue, but I don't want it like oozing out or anything either. Okay, so this will come here. I'm holding it down with my finger. This piece comes up, and then we're going to fold it in flat onto itself. Okay, and we're going to just hold that for just a few seconds because we want to make sure that that is actually adhering. Okay, the moment of truth, right? So now we're going to open up the card, and this piece will come down and tuck down like that. And there is the card. Voila! Very cool, right? And so one of the things that happened, or that can happen, if you have a circle in the front, you're going to be good. The only thing is, let me just show you. Okay, right now, this is the top of the snowflake. I'm going to put a little pencil mark right near it, okay? Right now, that is the top of the snowflake if you have the card facing like this. If you open this card like this, the top is now on the side. So if you have a design like a heart or something, your shape will now not be in the correct spot, okay? It will be facing, the point of your heart would be facing down here. So it's kind of important that you choose something that's symmetrical, like a flower for this design, or a snowflake, or something that doesn't have a true up and down, and that will make it easier for you. I'm sure there's a way where you could kind of make it still work, but then you would need to open your card a little differently. Your card would maybe sit like this, and then this would be your up. So it would be like a little bit, you know, the person would have the card like there, and then it would rotate here to the proper position. Okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to mail this card? So I'm just going to grab some of my envelopes, okay? And what I would do, it's 4¼ inches wide, so it will fit into one of our medium envelopes. What I would do is I would just cut myself a piece of 4¼ by 5½, and I would layer it, just leave it on top of my card when I put it inside to give the whole envelope a little bit of stability so that, you know, it's not got a floppy side to it. And that way it should mail just fine, but it fits into a regular medium-sized envelope. So perfectly mailable and perfectly cute, right? All right. I know you guys, you probably don't have any questions right now. I don't see any come through, but if you do have questions later on, make sure you post them below in the description of my video, and I will try and get to those. And look out for my project sheet tomorrow. If you are looking for any of the supplies that I mentioned today, click on over to my blog post. It's down below in the description of this video, and that will take you over to my blog, and there will be a complete supply list for that. Don't forget that Snowflake Splendor paper will not be around for very much longer. Once it sells out, it's going to be gone, and it is on sale right now. So that won't be carrying over at all. All right, guys, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. I won't be back here next Friday because guess what it is? It's Christmas next Friday, and I'm sure we all have better things to do than watch me stamp on a Friday on Christmas. So I will be back in the new year because the next January 1st, I believe, is the new year. So I'm looking on my calendar. Yes, it will be Friday, January 1st. So we'll see. I don't have my schedule all figured out yet. So I will either be back with my Friday tutorials on the 1st or the 8th coming up. And but I will be doing my regular Tuesday blog posts as well. My Casing Tuesday. I will be here on Tuesdays, just not on Fridays because of the way the holidays fall this year. And I don't know. I think January 1st in the morning, I think a lot of people will be too tired to get up anyway. So I'll probably definitely make my first Friday vlog. Friday video back on the 8th because no one's going to be up for that. So I will just do it on the 8th. Thank you for the Merry Christmas wishes. Oh, and our son, he had his 2 negative COVID tests. Not that we thought he was positive, but we had to kind of clear him for being with us. And so I finally got to hug him, and that makes me very happy. And he just finished his last exam at noon today. So now actually we can probably actually spend some time together. So that's kind of the goal here. So I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. I hope you can spend some time with your family, be it in person or on Zoom or whatever way you can communicate. 2020 has been a weird year, but 2021 is just around the horizon. We have a vaccine, lots of good things happening next year. So we just need to, keep things going and look to the future. And hopefully we'll have a great 2021. All right, guys, take care. Bye bye.